Welcome, everyone, to Motivational Monday, where we give you the insight and the motivation and the inspiration. And today we are talking about a subject that I think is on everybody's mind, especially during the holiday season, and that is about demands. Are demands placed on us especially during the holiday season, but we're also talking year round, 365? Or do we place those demands on ourselves? And before I introduce my panel, I'm just going to share a brief story. My story is about growing up, and it's a story I don't share often because it's painful. I grew up with a mentally ill mother. And by that, I mean that she was nowadays would be called manic depressive. But back then, they didn't quite know what it was. So she had her good days, she had her bad days. When she got overwhelmed with a lot of demands, and she placed them on herself because she felt that she had to control every holiday, she had to do everything, buying groceries a month before a holiday when she was having people over, shopping for Christmas gifts in the July sales,
Wow.
looking for everything. And it took a toll on her. It took a suicide attempt. And she was hospitalized. And I was young, I was barely a teen. And when she was in the hospital, what the doctor, the psychiatrist, had said to both my father and I, and to her, was that she had to be the one in control. She had to be her own healer, and that she had to put limits on things, that she had to be the one that would not place demands on herself and say no. So she really had to learn how to say no, how not to be in control over everything. And for me, it changed my life because I realized that we do place demands on ourselves, that those demands could make us ill if we allow that to happen. And we have the right to say no, that we don't have to do everything for everybody, and that we can't fix everybody, that they have to have their own journey. So thank you for joining us. I'm Teresa Palmer. I'm a holistic cardiology nurse practitioner, and I am the nurse who connects people to their hearts. And in doing so, I connect them to the power of the heart. And that's the power to make your best decisions, to be your healthiest, and live your best life. And now I'm going to let Nathaniel introduce himself and share his thoughts on demands.
Oh, my name's Nathaniel Ross. I'm the founder of Abundance Legacy, which is a nonprofit organization designed to help people with personal growth, personal finances. Um, and you're probably, in terms of this topic, we're at the busiest time of the year where it becomes challenging, but you also, it's 365 days a year. So let me start with the in general. People take on more than they want to take on. People take on more than they need to take on. And it comes from different pressure groups, whether it's from work, whether it's from social friends gatherings, whether it's church groups or, sporting groups that people belong to, whatever. People are taking on that pressure if they have to be there to golf every week. They have to be there to play cards every week, just from the general aspect of this. But with the holidays, it's really compounding. And I come from a background where food preparation started 2 days before the event. I'm like, you buying food a day, then cooking 2 days, and you're up early in the morning the day of to do the turkey or the ham or whatever the dish is. Everyone from any and everywhere come, even the neighborhood kids come to get a plate. They get their food, they leave. You're stuck with the cleanup. But that's the environment in which we came from, which I came from, right? And it doesn't make sense. It's, either you use your time wisely or other people are going to use your time the way that they want to use it. And around this question, it's usually other people using your time or getting you to use your time the way that they want it, as opposed to you sitting down, getting quiet and go, does this make sense to me? Uh,
Mm.
and
Right.
so that becomes the challenge, right? Is to say, all right, what works for me? Not what I saw growing up, not what somebody told me, but do an introspective check. The Christmas holidays. Why are you shopping in July for? And most people don't even know. I said to this, and then I'll shut up and we'll hear what Tiffany's got to say. Someone said to me about we were talking about the Christmas holiday, and I said, you know what? This is probably going to hurt your feelings, but you don't even know what Christmas came from. Oh, it's the birth of Christ. Da, 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 da. Stop. No, stop. You're way off base, because it's Santa Claus and all of that stuff comes from a Coca-Cola marketing advertisement, and it grew into what it is today. And so people don't even understand why they're celebrating or what they're celebrating. But they'll start shopping in June, July for that November, December thing, right? And from a financial standpoint, that November, December is what puts them into debt. And they don't get out of debt until the next November, December, and then they repeat the cycle and do it again.
Wow.
It makes no sense at all. People just
Yeah.
need to slow down and go, what do I want to do here? Not what does society want me to do, not what do my friends want me to do. Kind of go from there. What's your
Yeah.
thoughts, Tip?
Look, I'm like, I second that, really. We really do have to ask ourselves, you know, does this serve me? Because we will go out there. I remember when my son was little, it was a competition, I think, between my mother and I, to get the best things for this kid and all that stuff. And it was like, why are we competing? This kid honestly would like to play in the boxes more than play with these big extravagant gifts that we competed to see who's going to be the best mom in this, who's going to be the best. But what was the competition for, right? And I think this time of the year, I look at my mother, and she never allows us in the kitchen, right? But she's been doing this for years, and when she was working, she would work 10, 12, 13 hours and go to the store afterward, get all the stuff that was needed to cook. And Nate, you are so right. And she would start 2, 3 days before.
Mhm.
And it would just be that process. And, everybody would be coming over. And then, yes, she would be left with everything. And we would ask to help. There were times where we would, no, go ahead. And I noticed myself doing that for a long time, where it was like, no. People would say, yeah, hey, let me help you. Get the help. People, seriously, when someone comes to and wants to offer that help, have gratitude and say, yes, I want that help, instead of taking it all on, because it will compile up and you may not even know it until bam, it hits you. And all of a sudden the blood pressure is high, and all of a sudden you're having all these physical issues going on, and you're sitting here going, why? Why is this happening? Well, you need to slow down and really look at, okay, what am I doing here? And say, okay, why am I doing this? If I have help, get the help. And that's going to alleviate so many things. And that really, to me, I feel like when I started asking for help, that really created bonds, because now we're doing it together. And I always say better together. So that's really my take on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you both for those insights. And from what I'm hearing, it all comes down to these are demands that we place on ourselves. It's not really that other people place these demands on us. It's that we take on these demands, and we take them on for whatever reason. We may take them on because we feel guilty if we don't take them on. We may take them on because we're people pleasers. Oh, there's 1,200 parties and I'm going to go to each one of them because so-and-so will be upset if I don't show, or I want so-and-so to like me, or we want to be seen in a certain light. And I think sometimes we take on all these demands because it distracts us from ourselves. In other words, I'm so busy, I don't have time for myself. I have to start cooking 2 days in advance. I can't spend time with myself. I can't do anything. Oh, I have to do all the cleanup. Well, everything falls on me. Well, that's just how it is. I wish I had the time to sit down and read a book or read a chapter or something, but I can't because I have to clean up. I have all these demands that are placed on me. Well, take a look at it. You've placed those demands on yourself, and you are the one in charge, and only you could be in charge of your life. And I think that's the important message, that we're in charge of our life, that we decide what we want to do, how we want to do it. I'm not saying be rude and ignore everybody, but you have to place limits on things, and you have to be the one to decide physically, emotionally, and spiritually, health wise, what do you want to do with everything? What do you want to do, and how do you want to do it? For me, Thanksgiving's simple. My husband and I will probably go out to a restaurant with friends. That's it. It's simple. Do we have family? Yes, they're not in the same state. They're welcome to come if they want to, but they choose to stay where they are. We choose to stay where we are, and there's no hassle. Christmas is simple. All the holidays are simple. And that leads us then to the next thing. And that is that now that we've chosen to put boundaries on what we do we have to wait for holidays like Thanksgiving to be grateful, for Christmas to give and receive? Isn't this something that we should be doing 365 days a year? But somehow we place the importance on being grateful at Thanksgiving. What happens to the other 364 days? And giving and receiving on Christmas, like my mother buying gifts in July. So why can't we have gratitude, give and receive 365 days out of the year? What are your thoughts on that, Nathaniel?
Marketing and money. Marketing, the machine out there for marketing is just unbelievable. And the money that's made on Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas is the bulk of their money throughout the year. They make enough money that's going to take their businesses throughout the year. So they don't care. I mean, their goal is to extract as much money from you as possible, right? And your goal should be to protect your money, but we tend to be consumers, so we spend our money. And the more we spend it, the more the industry creates holidays, right? And I don't know if this was something that you guys are familiar with. Everybody pretty much knows about Valentine's Day, but do you know about Sweetest Day? And I'm like, Sweetest Day? The card industry developed Sweetest Day so that they could get more money out of Valentine's Day. And I'm like, that's just crazy to me. But people go out and get the cards and the flowers and the champagne and all that stuff. And I'm like, really? But that's what it's about. It's really about the money, creating the marketing and the power around bringing that money in. It's a very really sad state, but that's where we are as a society.
Yeah, it really is. And the prices are also increased. You know, you try to travel during Christmas, plane fare is double,
Yep.
train fare, even gas for your car. I'm waiting for that to go up now. And, you know, look at Valentine's Day. A $50 dinner now costs you $150 because it's Valentine's Day. And why do we even have to celebrate holidays on the day? Why can't we make our own day and do it 365 and do it when we want to? So what are your thoughts, Tiffany?
I say have gratitude every day. I mean, I wake up with gratitude, and honestly, that's changed my life because when you have that attitude of gratitude and you're grateful for, the things that you have, and it's kind of like that law of attraction thing, right? Being grateful, and when you're grateful for things, more things come to you that you can be grateful for. So I'm grateful every single day. I try to do random acts of kindness, and I challenge people. I challenge you all today. Like, go out there for the next 10 days. Just do 10 days. Just start it and do a random act of kindness, whether it be, letting somebody in when they, when you're driving, because people are always in a hurry, and, you put on your blinker and people speed up, right? So, letting someone in, opening the door for someone. I love going to Starbucks and paying for the person behind me after they've ordered, because there is a ripple effect to that. And I feel that also adds a little more kindness into the world. But as you guys are saying with the holidays, retail, I worked in retail for many, many years, learned that game. And it's so sickening that, the prices raise up tremendously during, the holidays, and people pay for it though. People pay for it. So until we stop paying for it, it's going to continue to happen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like in my subdivision, and it's a very large subdivision, and it's kind of divided where there's people with children, people without children, or young children, and there's two parts of the subdivision in particular that are always in competition for the holidays. And the subdivision kind of encourages this because they give out awards, a sign to post in your yard, best animation, whatever. And people go nuts. And right now, I'm seeing all the Christmas decorations that people not only have spent hundreds of dollars on, because most of these things are 6 feet and 7 feet tall to begin with, but there's a company that comes around and
Yep.
puts them out for you so you don't have to do it yourself. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking to myself, it's not done in the spirit of Christmas, it's done in the spirit of competition,
Yeah.
because each house has more decorations than the house before it. And the people that I guess have won the competitions in the past try to then do more to keep winning the competitions. And sometimes it looks like you've got all these 6 foot things sitting in your yard going out to the street, and you spent a ton of money. I know for Halloween, some of the 7 foot skeletons, somebody told me were $325, and that was the cheapest they could find. Well, that person bought 3 of them because they wanted to decorate their yard. I could think of better things to do with close to $1,000 than spend it on skeletons. But like you said, the retail, it just gets us to spend money, and we believe that we have to. So what would happen if we didn't do those things? What if there was a movement with the consumers that said, I'm only going to spend what I can afford. I'm only going to buy what I need. And I'm not going to participate in all this consumerism, that I'm not going to travel during Christmas. I'm going to do it before or after.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, I'll make somebody a meal. I'm not going out and spending double, triple the price for something. What would happen if we did that? And are we capable of doing this? Or has consumerism just gotten us so enthralled and entangled with everything that we can't get out? What do you think, Nathaniel?
I don't really discuss politics, but I'm going to touch on it. With the way that things are happening in America, the way that things are happening cost-wise, people are going to end up being in poverty, and they're not going to have a choice. And it's going to go back to the days like my mom and my grandfather, where we will start to relearn the lessons that we should have already learned. You don't buy something unless you have the money to buy it. So you save up for whatever it is that you want and you pay cash for it. This credit card scam that they got going on around the world now is crazy. People are spending future dollars.
Mhm.
It's going to get to the point where they're not going to be able to afford to use a credit card because the interest rates have shot up to 19, 20, up to 29% on a credit card. If somebody walked up to you and say, I'll give you $1, I'll lend you $1, but you got to give me 30 cents of that dollar back on top of it, you would go, no. But
Right.
they'll use those credit cards and they're paying 30 cents on the dollar. So I think that the financial situation that's in front of the world, because the whole world is struggling financially now, it's going to make us look back at how things used to be and start putting some of those things back. The pendulum is going to swing back the other way, as opposed to using credit and just keep spending, and competing.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I like the idea of cash. And
Yeah.
I remember when I was growing up, my mother was the queen of layaway. And that meant that she would go to the stores every week,
Yep.
pay,
Yep.
whether, regardless of what it was, because she didn't even own a credit card. There was no such thing as a credit card for her.
There was no such
And,
thing.
Mm-mm.
it's just so, we're just so used to spending. And I think we just believe that the money's going to be there. And it may not be there, but I don't think that we really think that far ahead. I think we
Yeah.
just look at it as, paying cash. I love to pay cash because if I don't have the money, I can't spend it. And I went
Yeah.
into a place and literally bought a piece of cake. And it's a very good cake. I bought a slice of cake and it was like $4, but a big slice. And I went up to the register and they rung me up and they said $4. I put out 4 ones and the girl said, "We don't take cash." I said, "What do you mean you don't take cash?" She said, "We don't take cash. We don't have any cash or anything in our register." She said, "You simply have to pay by credit or debit." So when did this start? She said, "Oh, well, during COVID when nobody could touch money," which I'm not going into that whole thing. Believe me, that's a whole nother
Oh, no.
craziness. But that's all they would take. Now, why do I have to use my debit card or my credit card when I've got $4 good that are sitting there that I could pay for what I want? But
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. They took no cash. I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
I think maybe cash is going to be obsolete. They want you to use that credit card. Granted, $4 isn't a big purchase, but it's $4 here, it's $5 here, it's $10 there, it's $20 here. By the
Mm.
time you know it, you're up to $5,000, and
Right.
you didn't even realize what you spent. What are your thoughts, Tiffany?
You know what? It's so crazy that all everywhere is going to that electronic where it's debit, which is supposed to be same as cash, but you still have, other fees in the background, right? Or credit. And I do feel like that, money is possibly gonna be obsolete at some point. I mean, look at the pennies. They're not making pennies
Yeah.
anymore.
Right.
So that to me feels like that's the start of something, right? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I also I got into that whole credit card thing for a minute, and it was like, wait a second, no, like, why am I gonna put all this money on this credit card? And then when I'm looking at, if you only are making the payment, every month, then you go back and you look after it's all paid off, look at how much more you paid than you needed to. If you would have just paid for it right then with cash, if you could. So yeah, I don't go in debt,
Yeah.
especially through these holidays, because it doesn't feel good, and that's just an additional stress that you don't need, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest stressors is finance,
Debt.
debt.
Right.
Yeah.
Debt. Yeah.
Well, that's the training that's happening right now, right? And it doesn't matter whether it's your credit card or whether it's going to the gym or whatever.
Hmm.
21 times of doing something creates a habit.
Right.
So if they can get you to swipe that card 21 consecutive times, you now have the habit of using that card. You don't even think about it anymore.
Mm.
And then you go, whoa, I got hit with this big bill at the end of the month, what I can't afford to pay it all.
Hmm.
Now you got to pay interest on food that you ate
Right.
that a week ago or 2 weeks ago, right? Nothing even show for it. So it's
Yeah.
all part of the new indoctrination.
Right.
It-
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Coming to the end of our time. So let's start with Tiffany for some final words and how people could get in touch with you.
Absolutely. And I forgot to introduce myself earlier, but um, Tiffany Parr, editor in chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine and coaching. You can get a hold of me by emailing me at Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine at gmail.com, or you can text me at 909-326-0099. If you are looking to figure out a way to navigate through the holidays, whether it be releasing that, physical, mental, spiritual stress, whatever that is that's weighing on you, definitely reach out to me. I got you. Thank you, Shanice.
Thank you. Nathaniel, some final
Yeah.
words.
Folk, pay attention to the finances because it's out of control and it's only going to get worse. But we're going to start a abundancelegacy.org is going to start in January, a 1 month program for financial boot camp once a month so that people can learn how to deal with their finances and not have the stress that comes with it. So get your financial affairs in order.
Uh, Thank you so much. This was such a stimulating conversation, and I think that we're giving people a lot of motivational things to think about, not only through the holidays, but 365. And I introduced myself at the beginning, but if people want to get in touch with me, right now, the best way to get in touch with me would be Teresa Palmer through Instagram. My website will be ready shortly, and when that happens, there'll be a better way to get in touch with me. But until then, that would be the way, or you could message me on Facebook, either way. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And we hope we've inspired you not to swipe that card and to set boundaries, to be in charge of your life, and in doing so, live the best life that you can. Thank you.